you never know how long your story is gonna be, but I just want to make sure that whenever that story ends, wherever it goes, I can look back and say that I gave everything. And I can look back and say I did it the right way. I didn't cheat the process. I didn't look for shortcuts. I didn't lie to myself. That's my goal right now.
Welcome to Ballers Brew, the world's hottest sports podcast. I'm your host, Michael Bromfield, and I'm thrilled to have you join us for another exciting episode. At Ballers Brew, we dive deep into the latest topics and trends in the sporting industry, offering diverse perspectives and thought-provoking discussions. Whether you're a passionate fan, a professional athlete, or simply a sports enthusiast, this is the place to be. Join me as we explore everything from game-changing strategies to behind-the-scenes stories, all aimed at elevating your understanding of the world of sports. This is Ballers Brew. I've come to know you through Rez, through being in Hayes Needling together. I had a few chats here and there in the corridor. For those that aren't maybe aware of who you are, let's start here. Who is Paschal Ekeji? Beyond the helmet, beyond the transition story, if someone were trying to just understand who you are and where you come from, how would you describe that journey that has shaped you as an individual?
I think I'm just like a small town kid with a bunch of dreams, trying to like navigate life as best I can and trying to, just trying to make the most of the opportunities I have and touch as many lives as I can in a positive way. Someone who's just trying to live out his God-given destiny, I'd say. Just yeah. I'm a normal guy with
Yeah.
all that stuff going on in my head. Yeah.
Which is true. And from an outsider's perspective, though, a truly special story, though. I mean, from Gray to Marty's, back to Durban, and then abroad to the US. Where did it start for you? If we go back to Gray, like where do you think, this love for sports ignited?
I think my love for sport like started way before Gray, to be honest. I think I was always an active kid growing up. I grew up in Vicksburg, small town in the Free State, just across the border from Lesotho, Maputo, where I was born. And I think from like primary school, I used to do like track, like athletics, house athletics. I used to play soccer. I wasn't crazy at soccer, I'll admit. But I just like playing sport and I like being active. I have three siblings. I'm one of four kids, and we're all 2 years apart. So I've got an older sister, and then it's myself, a younger sister, and then a younger brother. So we always were active in the house, running around, chasing each other, whatever it might be. So I was always an active kid. Yeah, I started playing rugby when I was about 11 for Vicksburg Primary. And I think, yeah, that's when really like I was like, yeah, I want to play pro sport one day. I want to do this at a high level for a long time. So I'd say the love for sport really started there. It was an outlet for me, just a place I could express myself and be myself. Kept me busy, kept me out of trouble as well. So yeah, and it taught me discipline. I think as a young man, I always like wanted to be a disciplined person, and so having a goal or having this thing in sport kind of forces you to learn discipline from a young age, if that makes sense. So yeah, I just have always been a sport guy, always loved it, and then yeah.
I find it special, right? And I think when we're in res, just thinking about being in a household or in a community where you're with a bunch of athletes, where everyone is I would like to say everyone is driven and disciplined towards wanting to essentially achieve a dream or work towards a bigger goal. It's always special to have that little fire inside of you that you want to achieve something bigger or something that maybe be greater than where you are in that moment. What was the maybe the first dream? So you said it was sport was something that was for you like a way to get out, a way to find discipline, and that's when you fall in love with it. What was the first dream, do you think?
The very first dream was to play to play soccer for like the Super Eagles of Nigeria or for Bafana Bafana or something. This was probably when I was 10 years old or something. Like I was really young. And that was what I was like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm trying to probably even younger than 10. I was probably like 8. Because the World Cup was in 2010.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
It was around the World Cup time when I was like, oh yeah, I want to play soccer at the World Cup. Probably I was probably 8 years old that time, and I just remember we were watching the World Cup, and there was the vuvuzelas. We would blow that for the vuvuzela thing. They used to bring that back. Actually, I can't lie. It was pretty nice listening to that stuff. Well, sometimes not that nice, but yeah, when I was 8, watching the World Cup back home, the vuvuzelas and all that, the whole vibe, it just was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to play, for the national team at a World Cup. So that was the first dream. Obviously, we did not go that route. And then once I started playing rugby, then I was like, yeah, I'm trying to be a Springbok. So I always wanted to climb the top of whatever mountain I was to get to the top of it. You know what I mean? Whatever sport I was going to do, I wanted to do it at a high level. I wanted to be the best of the best. That's always been how I've been. When it was soccer, I wanted to be at a World Cup. When I started playing rugby, I was like, yeah, I'm trying to play for the best team in the world, which is the Springboks. And now I think it's still the same, trying to grow as much as I can every day and improve and give myself the best chance to make that happen for myself.
I think it's a an athlete mindset, right? We're always ambitious, high standards, and always wanting to push the boundaries in order to be the best version of you that you can be. And it's special that every individual's path is not the same. The hardship and trials and tribulations and that you go through in order to get there. For sprinting, it's milliseconds that you're chasing, right? I would say in team sports, the tactical aspect and the ability to read a game, the ability to grasp the skills required in order to perform, it's truly, truly special. So we've gone from there, the early dream, okay, and maybe to bump it up a little bit, we're looking at now being in Marty's, which, correct me if I'm wrong, I would consider quite a serious rugby environment where there's a lot of structure and tradition.
Yeah.
So moving from there, or moving from grey to there, what did that space or that environment allow you to learn as both as an individual and a player?
Well, firstly, Marty's is for sure 100% a massive rugby environment. Like, the Donny Craven, like it's a historic ground in South African rugby. Stellenbosch is, Paul Roos is in Stellenbosch. I hate to say Paul Roos is a great boy, but Paul Roos is in Stellenbosch, and that tradition kind of, bleeds into Monty's already. Like it's intertwined, if that makes sense. Monty's have produced a lot of Springboks, a lot of pro rugby players. So it's a special place, and it was part of my decision in going to Stellenbosch University was just the rugby culture and the rugby history behind it. Obviously, someone who's trying to pursue at the time was trying to pursue, a professional career in rugby. I thought, this is where I'll develop and into what I want to become. So, it's an amazing rugby environment, an amazing sporting environment as well. Facilities are great, and then just being there in the program, being in the race, Needling with a bunch of other athletes who are hungry, as you said, and trying to make it in their careers respectively. It teaches you more discipline. Trying to play professional sport, I think, requires a lot of discipline and more discipline than people think it requires. And so you're always going to be learning discipline or more discipline or learning how to operate it more efficiently. I think that's something I definitely learned during my time at Stellenbosch, is just how to be more efficient in my operation and how I take care of my body and how I prepare for games and how I practice, train, rehab, prehab, learning to be more efficient in those things and understanding kind of the science behind performance. That's something while I was at Stellenbosch, getting to rub shoulders with other athletes in other fields. I just would always pick their brains on, the challenges they have in their sport, things that they do to give them an edge. Speak to my coaches, SNCs. I was just always like, I'm always just like I'm a bit nerdy. I'm trying to always learn something. So, being in an environment with a lot of wisdom and knowledge and a lot of different people, I was able to kind of pick up from those people like, okay, this might work for me. Let me try this. Let me try that. And yeah, I think as an athlete, that definitely has aided me, but also as a human being, I think I was able to understand myself in different ways. Being in a student town is pretty cool. So you get to like experience a bunch of different things and figure out what's for you, what's not for you. So yeah, I think a lot of maturity came from my move to Stellenbosch. I was also pretty far from home, so teaching me independence as well.
I find it neat. It's like you arrive. I don't know if it was for you, it was for me, right? You arrive into that bubble of performance in Stellenbosch, and in your mind, you're like, I'm this young man, but you have so much to learn within this journey that's ahead
Mm,
of you. So much that's unknown, and I like how you said where you're able to brush shoulders with some of the best because you're in an environment that's truly dedicated to performance. Being able to submerge yourself, dedicate yourself to your craft, I feel like that's truly when you start to learn the most.
for sure. I think like bro, like we'll have, for example, preseason for Varsity Cup, and everyone understands or everyone has an idea of like, bro, if you have a good Varsity Cup, you could, get an extension with the club or get a contract with a club, and your career can really start from, having a good Varsity Cup. And so the intent behind the training is different, and that teaches you stuff like you push each other. Like if you're training as a team, and there's one thing about team sport, when most guys in the team are driven, it pulls other guys as well to be driven, to be focused. I remember in my first year we had like, yeah, we had dogs on the team, and I was like fresh out of high school, and myself, Vernon, and my mate AB, we were training with the senior team, and we just got better every day because we were like kind of thrown in the deep end. And these guys are trying to win a Varsity Cup championship, so like they're going at it. And so being in that kind of environment, it pushes you. It teaches you how to actually what actual work looks like. You know what I mean? Like it shows you like, okay, this is what it is to be hungry. This is what it is to be pursuing this thing. This is what it is to say you want it and actually show it in your actions. So yeah, no, I'm forever thankful for Stellenbosch University, man. Even like being a student, being able to get my degree, get my honors, like grow that part of myself. Forever grateful.
Something I want to go back on a little bit, and maybe for some inside information, right? You mentioned that in the preseason, the expectation of performance
Mm.
and then the ability to get contract extensions, etc. In a field where you're learning and developing, does the obligation to a contract or the expectation in that world where it's if you don't perform, someone else is going to take your spot. Do you have this fear of not being able to make mistakes, or perhaps this having to hold back from trying new tricks or trying to develop your skills in a different way?
You're speaking about it at Marty's, right? Specifically, right?
Yeah, we're still in that Marty's bubble for now.
Like you need to realize that's the best place for you to try things is while you're at Stellenbosch University, while you're first year, second year, third year. Like, because if you don't try things there, and then you're not going to get that same opportunity to do that, say, for if you're playing for the Stormers or if you're playing for the Sharks or the Bulls or the Lions, you know what I mean? Because that's a professional environment. That's now, it's different. You know what I mean? You're getting paid to do this. And so the stakes are just a bit higher. But like at the university, bro, you need to understand that this is your training ground. This is where you can, develop your skills. And I think when I was younger, I maybe didn't fully understand it or think about it that way. And you're thinking about, oh man, if I mess up, I'm not gonna get this opportunity. Or if I mess up, I'm not gonna, get signed or whatever the case may be. But I think you need to realize and understand that this is where I get to like sharpen my sword, if that makes sense. Make like try the stuff as hard as you can and make the mistake. That's cool. If it's a skill, technical mistake, that will come with time. But as long as the effort and intent is there, I feel like you'll win. Because I mean, if you don't play in your first year, cool. You worked hard, you developed, you put yourself in tough situations to learn, and you make sure you handle business, and with your academics, you're going to come back in your second year, and that opportunity is going to be there again. And you do the same thing. The third year is there. That's the thing that's amazing about the Varsity Cup or about, varsity sport or Stellenbosch. Like, bro, you have time, if that makes sense. First year, second year, third year, do your undergrad. If you come back for your honors, you can still do that. But like, if you forego that, or if you just, don't have, you're afraid to put in the effort to do those things, then you don't have time. If that makes sense, you run out of time. So I would say, yeah, just like reframing it in your mind is important, not to think of it as, do or die, if that makes sense.
So in that same breath, right?
Mm.
I bumped into you once or twice in race, and I felt like truly heartbroken for you. It was during a period in which you'd sustained an injury. I would say it was season ending. Going through that, you're in an environment where you can learn and everything's there for you to grow. And you said, you wanted to sharpen your sword essentially. Mentally, what is going through your mind? You're in a position where you're giving it everything you can, and it's almost like someone upstairs has pulled up the handbrake and gone, not now.
I mean, in the moment, it's heartbreaking, it's difficult, bro, because this was in 2023, and this I done my knee probably 2 weeks out of the Varsity Cup, like 2 weeks before the Varsity Cup starts. And like I had a really good preseason, bro. I had a really good preseason. It was my third year, contract year with Western Province. Like I'm thinking, bro, like I'm gonna go crazy this year. Honestly, like that was my mindset. I was feeling really confident. There were parts of my game which previously I wasn't very confident about, but this season I just felt like, yeah, we had a warm up game against UCT. I think the weekend, and I scored a game winner. And then the next week we come back to practice, and I think it was the second practice of the week or the first practice of the week. We had a walkthrough, and the teammate and I just clashed knees in a situation where it's not even supposed to be contact. And I just, it was just an awkward kind of collision. And then, I fractured my kneecap, and that was the year for me. Essentially, I didn't play another game the whole year. It was like everything kind of just, went to nothing. And it was really hard, man. It was really hard, and tested my faith a lot, and just tested my grit as well, and tested my character a lot as well. And I would say like it made me like who I am. I don't want to sound cliche, but honestly, it made me who I am, because you can say you're someone or can think you're a certain type of person, but like until you face some kind of situation that forces you to display those traits, you don't really know, if that makes sense. And so I think that situation, that period really forced me to be everything that I think I am, everything that I want to be, everything that I say I am. Like I had to be consistent in my rehab. I had to, pick myself up. I had to fall on my face sometimes, and then, like I need to try to trust God. I had to go to Him. I had to pray. I had to try and work on my relationships and my friendships. Like it forced me to do a lot of internal work as well. And now when I look back, I'm so happy it happened, because it gave me the opportunity to cultivate character. It gave me the opportunity to cultivate a certain mindset that I'm gonna have with me forever now. Tough period, but definitely worth it. It's always how you frame something in your mind. That's something you told me for sure. However you frame something is like how it's gonna work for you. If you frame it as, oh, this is gonna beat me, you beat, brother. But like, but if you frame it as like something that's like, okay, this is gonna improve me, or this is a sign of like that, like I'm gonna win. I don't know. I'm spiritual. Like I believe in Jesus Christ, and I believe that there's a certain reason certain things happen in all of our lives, and I just believe like through that process, he was just like pruning me, man. So like I was just like, bro, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back. And so, yeah, he did. I did come back. He helped me come back. So, yeah.
Each journey is different, right? And every trial and hardship is different. But I love what you said, like in terms of the framing. Like
Hmm.
if you believe you're beat, you're done. You're beat.
You're done. You're done.
There's no coming back from that.
There's no coming back, my brother. Once in your mind you believe, okay, it's raps, bro. You
But you
might
know.
just, yeah, just hang it up, my dog. Hang it up, man. I'm telling you. But like, yeah, man, for real. And yeah, any athlete kind of knows, or like, I feel like most athletes know, like, even if you did like track or something, anytime we went to the track and you were like, yo, guys, nah, today I'm getting rolled. They rolled you that day. If they rolled you, or if you played a rugby game or whatever it is you're doing, but you went there thinking, yeah, nah, Owens, they probably should things that day. But then, it's about like your mindset, your perspective.
And it starts in here, right? Like
Mm.
it's I mean, I've seen it with sprinters, and before you get on the block, you have to know you're the best. You have to believe you're the best. I mean, there's a lot that can go wrong
Yes.
from the technical execution and who's done the most work before showing up, but so much of it is belief.
Hmm.
So maybe to expand on that, let's take a step back. You're in that position where you're injured. You're able to come back onto the field. Somewhere along the journey, there's a little seed that is planted with the international player pathway.
Hmm.
Can you walk me through that journey, through this stepping into the unknown, but also still having your heart in rugby?
So the NFL thing, I'll just start like this. So the IPP, or International Player Pathway Program, is an initiative by the NFL where they go around the world, and they look for athletes with certain traits that they think can play in the NFL. Given these traits, just they just might need some polish, some work here and there, and they feel like they have what it takes given these traits to play in the NFL. So that's what the NFL IPP is. It's been giving guys a platform to do this for quite a while now, and it's changed a lot of lives. I first really kind of found out about the IPP in, I'd say, 2022, like roughly around there. But my interest in football started in high school. Like my interest in football started when I was at Grey College. I think I was in grade 11. Yeah, I was in grade 11. One of my boys, we were talking about Madden in the classroom. And then we ended up playing Madden at his house, and I got cooked. I got cooked. But
Who's your
just
team? Who's your team? Who are you playing as?
nah, I don't even remember, bro. I didn't know anything about football. I used to be like, nah, rugby is way tougher than football. These guys have helmets and pads, and like rugby's just better. And there's not to say which sport is better or which one is worse or easier or whatever, but that was my mindset at the time. So I just played, and then I got beat, and then just being myself, I went on YouTube and like started like Googling or researching like Madden tips and tricks and whatever. and I come across an OBJ edit, and OBJ at the time, I think he just got traded to Cleveland, or he was still on the Giants, but he wore number 13, and I used to play outside center in rugby, so I thought that the number correlates to the position like it
Yeah.
does in rugby. So I was like, okay, this is what number 13s do in football. Like this is tough, you know. So I'm like, okay, this is cool, and I just go down a rabbit hole, looking at different highlights and whatever. Eventually got to a point where I would stay up to watch games, like, because like primetime games in the US, they kick off at 8 p.m. That would be 2 a.m. like in South Africa. So I would stay up and watch those games. I watched the Super Bowl, watched the draft, watched the combine. I just became like a football fanatic. I'd even go as far as like studying like football stuff. Like I'd go on YouTube and find out what's cover three,
Yeah.
like it's cover two, or like what's dagger, what's mesh. Like I'm just trying to figure out all this stuff, and I got myself Madden as well. I became pretty decent at Madden. So we're like, and then my brother and I would play together. So like, that's where the passion for the sport grew. But there was no, you know, pathway to like, do it in my mind, right? So I just kept on playing rugby and just kept on trying to excel. I would try and, bring things over from football, from what I had learned from football on YouTube to like my rugby. And I remember having a conversation with my rugby agent, Gavin Jones, great guy. We had coffee one day, and I think we went to the coffee, and it was a couple of my mates who went to the coffee there. I think Vern was probably there, and one of my mates, Mambo, was probably at the coffee. I don't remember, but I pulled up with a little bit of, a little fit, if I do say. Uh, I had a
Good
little bit
plan.
of swag. I had a little bit of swag. And he's like, and then Gavin's just like, just Machana, look at this oak, eh? and he's like, look at this oak. This oak looks like an NFL player or whatever. And I was like, no, Gav, like, I actually think I could play, football. And he's like, yeah, he's like, yes, I think you could, like he believed like off the rip.
Yeah.
Once I said it, he was like, yeah, like you could, I think you could definitely do that. So shout out to Gavin for that. But like, yeah, he said that. We had that conversation, just like a light thing. And I remember in 2022, Gavin messages me and like, you won't believe it. I'm like, what? And he said he got an email from a guy named Osi Umenyiora. Now, Osi is the NFL, is a Giants legend. He played for the New York Giants. Um, I think he won two Super Bowls. Like he's a legend, and he's Nigerian. And so he was doing an initiative of his to give African kids the opportunity to play in the NFL. And so he emailed Gavin, or emailed Gavin's agency, and was asking for, athletes with a certain kind of profile, height, weight, speed, measurables. And Gavin's, put my name up. I did a workout in SAS. And Dieter came down. Dieter is from Paul,
Yeah.
and he actually played in the NFL as well.
No way.
Um, he was there, and he kind of like oversaw all the stuff we were doing. Send the clips and the times to OC, and then OC was like, "Yeah, let's bring my guy Pascal to Ghana." So flies me out to Ghana. I think still in 2022, and they had a combine in Ghana. This was the first ever combine in Africa, and there was a bunch of guys from Nigeria, guys from Ghana, guys from like all over the continent were at this, event. Had some NFL players there, Jeremiah Wusu Koromoa, like just bunch of guys, man, Bobby Okereke. So yeah, it was pretty cool. Got to meet some of the guys, done some of the drills and stuff. At the time, I was probably 19 at the time, so I was too young for the program. So I, just did that and then came back home, and it was like, yeah, man, Pascal, you look really good. I was a receiver at the time. You look really good. What are your plans like in the future? I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to be a Springbok. I'm trying to just excel really. And like, yeah, man, you should really like look into like learning football, like learning the mental part of football. I'm like, yeah, for sure, for sure. So, I just thought, that was it, because they were like, oh, bro, you can't go further than this because you're too young for the program, but you're too old to go to the academy in London. So it's like, you're kind of in limbo. So I thought, oh, okay, at least I tried. Like, thank God. But then I went home. I remember the first Sunday back in Stellenbosch, we went to church, and we were in church, and I was just praying. I was like, yeah, God, I don't know why, but I just have a feeling like I just have it heavy in my spirit that I want to play in the NFL. But I don't know. There seems like there's no way right now. But God, I'm just trusting you to make a way for me. And I remember I prayed it, and I went back home. I wrote it down in my diary. Like, you know what? I'm gonna be an NFL draft pick one day. That's what I wrote. And yeah, that was 2022. The year went by. I just kept on playing rugby as best I could. 2023, obviously, done my knee. The entire year went by. Just didn't do any sport really that year. Just school really. And then 2024 comes around. I'm back. I play Varsity Cup. I have a great season. And then towards the end of the year, I got a message. I think it was probably in November. So we're already doing preseason for the 2025 Varsity Cup season. And I had just come back home from practice, from rehab, actually. I had a little niggle. And I had started rehab, say, a Monday. And this was a Thursday afternoon. So the Monday was my first day running from this rehab. Thursday afternoon, I finished my rehab. I go back home, hop out the shower, get a message. I check my phone, and it's a guy named Dominic Favier McPherson, but a guy. So Dom's from London, and he was the head of the IPP program last year. And so he messaged me, and he's like, "Hey, I'm in Cape Town on Monday, and I'd like to work you out for the IPP." Like, what the heck? It's Thursday, and you're telling me you're going to be here on Monday, and we want to work out on Monday. I haven't. I ran like twice in this week, and it was my first time running in probably like a month or two.
Yeah.
I haven't prepared anything, and I had an exam actually. My final exam for my honors was that Monday at 9. So I'm like, yeah. And obviously, I don't tell him any of this stuff. I'm like, yeah, 100%, I'm ready. I'll see you at 12 because I have an exam that finishes at 12. And then Dom's like, nah, 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 no worries. We'll push it to Tuesday. Focus on your exams. Your academics is important. I'm like, yeah, cool, cool, cool. Okay, okay. Bro, I didn't study that whole weekend. I couldn't like study. I couldn't think about books. I sit there, look at my books, and I'm just thinking, yo, I'm trying to go to the league. I'm trying to go to the league. Bro. So like eventually I wrote the exam, I passed. And then, the Tuesday comes along, I work out. He puts me in, myself, TJ, and two other guys. TJ, my growing younger, TJ is actually on the Commanders right now. He puts us both, all four of us, through a workout. And then a few weeks later, he gives me a call. And it's like, hey, Mr. Pascal. Always calls me Mister. This guy could almost be my dad. Okay, maybe
You gotta
not
have
that.
the formalities, you gotta have the formalities in there.
But he's a cool guy. You don't get it. Like, you don't Mr. Pascal. Mr. Pascal, how you doing, Mister? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And he's got the thick, British accent. I'm like, nah, I'm calm. I'm good. How you doing? And he's like, nah, I'm good. I just want to let you know I'm inviting you to the program.
Bro.
And bro, I was like, yo, what? Yo, what? I was just in shock really, because I remember I had been praying, like praying for a time. I think for the last 2 weeks, I was just praying that I'd get like, selected for the program after my workout. Yeah, it's just something I had been wanting to do for so, 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 so long.
Mm.
And like something that I had been praying for, and like my family had been praying for, and I've been working for, and like kind of like dreaming about. And so when I got the invite to the program, it was like ridiculous. Like, it was almost like not even real, bro, to be honest.
Whoa, whoa. Hey, Ballers Nation. Quick break in the action. Thanks for tuning into Ballers Brew. If you dig our fresh take on sports, please rate, review, or share the podcast. It only takes a moment, but it makes a huge difference. Thanks for the support. You hear the news.
Yeah.
Phone call's over. You put the phone down. What's the first thing that's going through your mind?
My first thing I did was call my parents.
That's special.
I called my mom and my dad. I called them and I told them my mom was shouting on the phone. Nigerian mom, she was singing hymn songs on the phone, just happy. And the second I hung up on my parents, Gavin calls me. And Gavin was just shouting like boom. So Gavin knew before I knew.
Yeah.
Uh, so I think Dom called Gavin to ask him about like a couple stuff. And so he told Gavin. And Gavin's like he'd been dying not telling me, like just trying not to speak to me or text me or anything, but he's so proud of me. And then after that I was just like I just sat and just like looked at the ceiling and just was like, this is real. Like what? I'm gonna get a shot to actually get into the NFL. So yeah, I was just that day was legendary. I can't even lie. Like that's one of the best feelings I've.
I mean, it sounds like that was the start. I mean, you had the seed planted.
Mm,
You always had the faith and the belief through Madden, right? I mean, that's where it started
yeah,
with
so
with days back in the day. And then you get to that point of this idea becoming into realization. If we consider, okay, so you're in a position where your heart's been in NFL for a while,
mm,
but you're still playing rugby.
mm,
And now there's this opportunity to transition. As an athlete where your identity's been so attached to rugby for so long,
yeah.
how was that shift away? Was it an easy transition or was it more like this, I'm still deep down, Pascal the rugby player or I'm Pascal the athlete?
Like how I looked at it, right? So obviously you're giving up something in order to have the chance to pursue something else, right?
Yeah.
And how I looked at it was I'm 22 years old at the time, right? I'm 22 years old. I'm not even really in my athletic prime. You know, I'm probably going to reach my athletic prime like 25, 26, 27. And I've just graduated. I've just graduated my honors, matter of fact. So I'm a qualified individual and I don't have kids. I don't have a wife. My siblings are in school. I don't have any real heavy responsibilities right now. And this is something that if I go 10 years down the line, I won't be able to do the same thing again.
Mm.
I can study, I can go work corporately, I can do whatever in 10 years from now, but I can't do this again in 10 years. And it's something that like keeps me up at night. Like I remember nights I'd literally be in the hostel there at Res in Stellenbosch and I'm just laying in my bed staring at the ceiling, like dreaming of like, you know, playing in the NFL, dreaming of like making play, speaking to my roommate about like this kind of stuff, like telling him like, bro, I'm telling you, bro, I'm gonna go to the league, bro. Like, so it was like, bro, this is the only chance I get to do this. I can get to do this one time. And if I don't do it, I'm gonna regret it for the rest of my life. So I was like, yeah, yeah, let's do it. Like, yeah, let's go. So that was kind of like part of how I made the decision to kind of, leave behind, that part of my life. Yeah, it was just based on like this is something that has been in my heart and I won't get this chance ever again. So I'm gonna maximize it while I can.
If I can jump in,
Yeah.
right? So I can't recall when, but at some point during that journey, I know I hit you up with a message and I'm like, bro, this is insane. I'm wishing you all the best and such an exciting future ahead and still such an exciting future ahead. After that news, you weren't done with rugby yet.
Mm,
You still had a campaign with the Sharks
mhm,
before ending up in New York.
mm.
What was that like in my mind now? So you're talking about you're in your prime, you have that ability to chase this dream, so you're gonna go for it. So your foot's in the door, but the door's not yet open. Walk me through that, please. Like what's going
Yeah.
through your mind?
Yeah. What's a story without adversity, right? What is a story without it? We as human beings, we envision the most boring stories ever. The stories we envision are stories where you go from point A straight to point B, and that's it. You just started at the bottom and you boom, you're at the top. That's how we envision stories in our minds, or our own story, which is very boring. But God has other plans, as I've come to know. So, obviously get onto the program. We had about 10-week camp in Bradenton, Florida. So yeah, had the camp, learned about football, prep for like combine. And then we had a combine or pro day end of March. So a bunch of scouts are there. And like they're evaluating us. Some scouts had one-on-one with us. Some scouts were really like me actually. And so that ends, and then five of us go to the actual draft last year. We went to the draft, myself and four other of my teammates, and we all thought we would get like a call maybe late, like around 7. Because like we had spoken to like play like scouts and teams, and people have actually been drafted before on the IPP. So we were like, maybe one of us get a call, or at least like right after the draft get a call to be like an undrafted free agent. So that day comes, we're all sitting there, we're all waiting, we're all hoping. That phone did not ring, bro. That phone did not ring at all. So didn't get drafted at all. Didn't get signed as a free agent. Nothing. And I was like, damn, like, does this mean I'm not good enough? Does this mean like the dream ends here? Does it mean like it was just as far as it goes? Um, it was hectic that day, and the next 2 days were really hectic because as soon as the draft ended, we flew back. So the draft was in Wisconsin, Green Bay, Wisconsin. We flew back to Florida. And then the next day, we all had to pack our stuff from Florida and all flew home, essentially to our different countries. And the guys, a couple guys got signed. So the guys who got signed flew straight to those teams, put pen to paper, and then they had to go home anyway because teams only start, you know, only going to start later. So like, it was hard, bro, because I came back home. I remember that was the longest flight of my life. It is a very long flight from New York to Johannesburg, but it was just long because I was also thinking about so many different things. Like I was questioning, oh, did I work hard enough? And I'm like, nah, man, I really worked hard. Like I think I gave my best, really and truly. So like, what was it like? Questioning a bunch of things. I went back home. I stayed home for about a week, and I told my parents, yo, can't stay at home. I'm going to Stellenbosch. I'm gonna go train, and like we'll see what happens. I'm gonna get a call somehow, somewhere. I'm telling you guys. Go back to Stellenbosch, and I was just like training on my own every day, probably for like 2 months. 2 months, I was just at home. I'm in Stellenbosch, really just lifting, running, training, doing football stuff on my own, filming myself, sending the clips to my football agents, sending the clips to Dom to like evaluate, to tell me what to work on or to send it to teams. I remember I got like a whiteboard. I would draw football plays on it and tape myself explaining these concepts, sending it out to like my agent to like send it to teams just to show that I'm smart and I understand the stuff. And nothing happened. No doors opened at that time. So I was just doing this. And then Gavin calls me one day and he's like, "Hey man, I spoke to Sharks. The Sharks are keen to have you over for like a trial period. They understand your whole football thing. So if you get a call, they'll happily let you go. But I just think it's something that if you do, it could help. Like if nothing comes from the football thing, you could potentially sign with the Sharks, and if something does happen, win-win." So I agreed. And this was probably end of June. Yeah, end of June. So I left July, August, September, October. Yeah. So I was in Durban for those 4 months. did the whole preseason with them. My body changed completely again because with football, my body changed. I put on a bunch of weight because for my position, I was playing as a D end outside linebacker, so I had to put on some weight, and then I was back to playing wing. I was now losing a bit of weight as well, and trying to like get back into the groove of the rugby. Still having this dream in my heart, and I remember I got a call from a team probably in October or September, really early September. Got a call from a team, and they wanted me to work out the next day, and they asked me where I was, and I told them I'm in Durban, South Africa, and they said, "Yeah, that's not gonna work for us because the travel time." And I was crushed. I was crushed on one side, and on the other side, I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Yeah." Like it was also like a sign. This goes back to me saying how you frame things in your mind. I was like, "No, this is a sign. This is a sign." It's like September. The last time I did anything in front of NFL teams was March. So I'm like, definitely like God is doing something. He's just maybe he was just like waking me up, like telling me, "Hey, stay ready, bro. It's coming. Stay ready. It's coming." So he was just trying to like shock me. That's how I framed it in my mind. And so I started watching tape again. Literally, I remember one of my mates from the in the hostel there, the Sharks, came into my room and I was watching football with a notebook and like writing stuff down. And he's like, let's go, what are you doing? And I was like, nah, bro, I'm just, I love this stuff. So I'm just trying to like, and he's like, what is wrong with this guy? This, bro, like, it's done. Like, you're playing, uh, he wasn't negative, but like, bro,
Yeah.
why are you looking at this stuff?
It's like wrong sport right now. Like we're playing rugby, you
Yeah,
know? Yeah.
let's get these lines done. Let's get these lines done. I'm like, nah, don't worry, bro. I'm just gonna do this for a bit and I'm gonna come back. So, that was like, okay. And then somewhere around, I'd say 2 weeks before November, I got a call from Dom. And so he had coffee with the guy named Kisset in London. And Kisset works for the Sharks. So yeah, he does some work at the Sharks. And so and I knew Kisset. I knew Kisset just by connection with like Vernon and TJ, a bunch of my mates. And so Kisset and Dom had coffee in London, and Dom told Kisset about this showcase in Miami that was happening on the 11th of November. And there would be a bunch of NFL, ex-NFL players, college players, and Dom was telling Kisset he thinks I should go. Because Kisset asked Dom why why I didn't get an opportunity. And Dom said, I just think it was just timing. Like, I think he can play. It just needs the opportunity to like showcase it. And Kisset's like, I bet. So Kisset calls me that Dom tells me, yo, how do you feel about this thing? And I'm like, yeah, like, I'd love to go. But it's like, you have to obviously fund this thing though. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow. And then Kisset comes through and Kisset's like, hey, I'm gonna pay for your flight, man. I believe in you. Literally said, I believe you. I'm gonna pay for your flight to Miami. Like, just go crush it, man. Like, you only get to do this once. You're a great kid. You work really hard. So, like, I think you can do this. And this was probably like, actually, this was a day after the Sharks told me, like, they don't think that I could, that they're gonna sign me, that they're gonna extend me, like, or to keep me. So like literally a door closed and another one opened like right as that one closed. So I go back home, I work out for a couple weeks. I actually went home and I went to Zimbabwe to work out for a couple weeks with TJ's trainer. His name is Johnson Mabiza. He's doing amazing work in Zimbabwe. They've got an SSL, like they have got an amazing sports science lab. So so I'm doing some work with Johnson there, just trying to prep my body for this trip that I'm about to make. I probably had 3 weeks to prep and I fell ill. I fell ill, probably because I've been traveling and I'm trying to gain weight. Bro, I lost so much weight. So I'm like, "Ah, whatever it is, what it is, God got me." And in my head, I framed it as like, this is happening because I'm gonna get signed. Like this is just a test of my faith. Literally, like it's trying to like like just test my faith and see how much I believe. So I reframed it as that in my head, and that's what I was going with. Got to Miami, bowled out. It was a 3-day camp, bowled out, got the tape, cut the tape up, how and sent it to my agent, sent it to Dom, and they sent it around, and I probably waited like 3 weeks. So this is a funny story, and I'm gonna tell it. So while I'm in Florida, the camp ends, I think on a Thursday. I take a train and I go to Boynton Beach, and I stayed at my girlfriend's uncle's like apartment in Boynton Beach, right? And he and I just like chopping it up. He's South African, obviously, but he works there. And the funds were not up, bro.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, I've got a plan. Fit. I asked him how many gyms around here. He's like, there's probably like 2, 3 gyms. I'm like, bet. I go to the first gym, LA Fitness gym, and I say, hey, I'd like to do like a trial period with you guys. Do you guys have any like free like passes? So they're like, oh, we've got a 4 day or I think a 7 day or whatever day free pass, whatever. So I'd use that one up. And as soon as it finishes, I go to another gym and ask for the same thing. And so I'm just going to these public gyms for free. And long story short, my memberships finish, and it gets to a point where I'm like, okay, I need to like pay for these gyms, and I didn't have the money for it, and literally, and my flight back home is in a week, and then I was just speaking to my parents, they're like, bro, I hope I get called this weekend because next week is my last week here. I don't have the money to go to these gyms and eat and all that kind of stuff. So I'm like stressed out, praying, kind of worried. And then literally the Tuesday morning, I get a call from the Jets. Tuesday evening, I'm on a flight next to Victor Cruz. If you know who Victor Cruz is, Victor Cruz played for the Giants. And I literally sat next to him on the flight to New York. Wednesday morning, I'm in the Jets facility. I'm doing a workout. Wednesday evening, I put pen to paper and like I signed the New York Jets. So it was insane how it happened. Like it was crazy.
Bro, like listening to it, just your story in general, like it's truly special, the hardships you went through, but never not believing in yourself, right?
Yeah.
I wrote down whilst you're speaking, drive never dies.
Yeah.
Like it's this grit, determination, and again, it comes back to the framing, like and just going after it. We had a chat one of the days with someone who was within industry, but more on the corporate side, and we're just talking about in general, like when you want to achieve something, how much is it of you forcing it versus you waiting for something to happen? So in sense, it's part of it is that every single day you're going to grind and hustle with that self-determination that you chipping away at it,
Mhm.
something will come. And that's that faith element, like believing that, you're putting in everything that you can. Big man upstairs, he's gonna open a door for you. You had your foot in the door.
I think like the faith part is so crucial for me and for my journey because I can grind like that. I can work like that because I believe that I'm in alignment with what God is calling me to do. Oftentimes, I would literally pray, like, Father, align my heart with your own. May I desire the things that you desire for me. I don't want to desire something that's outside of what you want for me. You know what I mean? And I would pray, Lord, give me the desires of my heart. And and I would pray it in the sense of don't not give me what I want, show me what I should want, and then give me those things. That's what I would pray for a long time. I prayed that. And I feel like once he gave me confirmation or gave me signs, like I say reframing, but really because I'm thinking through a spiritual lens, I'm like, oh, this is a sign from God. that this is like where I need to be right now at this point in time, where this is gonna work. Like when I went to that camp in Florida, I was 225 pounds or 220 pounds, which is 225 pounds is 102 kilos, probably 102 kilos. That is severely, severely undersized for the position I play. I'm playing against guys who are 320 pounds. Like, and it's not like they're short guys, they're like
Yeah.
massive guys. So like I was severely undersized, like to be at the camp, but it didn't shake me. It didn't shake me because in my mind I was like, bro, I got sick because like it's a test of my faith. I'm not gonna falter in that sense. I'm not gonna be like afraid. I'm not gonna get here and be like, ah, nah, man, I got sick, so I'm not gonna make it. It's like God let me get sick. Like, why would He let me get sick and lose weight and whatever, whatever. So I didn't look at it that way. But that's because of like faith, understanding that God isn't gonna just do something and then like leave it half done. When he put me on the IPP program, I worked out a 3 day notice of my workout for the IPP program, and I hadn't prepared at all in any way, like at all. I hadn't prepared. I was severely underprepared, but by His grace, I got put on that program. And so in my head, I'm like, this is a sign from God. It wasn't coincidence that I got picked onto the program. So why would God put me on the program just for me to go to Florida for a couple weeks and come back home? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, God isn't a God who does something halfway and then leaves it. And that's why when I got back home, I stayed home for a week and I told my parents, yo, I'm leaving. I'm going to Stellenbosch to work because God isn't done. Like, He wouldn't have just done all this stuff for nothing.
Mm.
So like that's why I went back to Stellenbosch, and so I went back to work every day by myself. I would work. Johnson used to send me programs from Zoom. Like he'd send me programs and tell me what to do. Like he'd just build a program for me and like, yo, go do it. And I'd do it day in and day out. There would be days it'd be raining and I'd be on the field with running my sled, like doing sled pulls, like because I know God can't like God can't be mocked. He can't do something and leave it unfinished. So the faith aspect is so important. I wouldn't be able to hustle or work or believe or whatever or have determination or grit in the face of adversity without that. One of my favorite verses is in James 1 probably. It's like, count it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, when you face trials and adversities of different kinds, for through it your faith is strengthened. So allow it to run its course so that your faith may be perfect and you'll be made whole, lacking in nothing. So it's like, yeah, man, the trials and stuff is cool. And we should be happy sometimes when we encounter these things because we know the God we serve, we know we're going to come out on the other side better. We know it's going to strengthen us. We know it's going to make us more whole. It's not there to crush us. So yeah, man, like the faith is maybe an underrated part. Someone might be listening to the story and think, "Oh man, you got lucky," or whatever, whatever. That's on you, bro. I'm telling you what happened and how it happened and why I know it happened. Yeah. So yeah, just make sure you understand that it's God, bro.
I think it's hard, right? The notion of blind faith. Sometimes it's like, and maybe it comes back to relationship. But when you're still learning, or your relationship with God is maybe not the same of another individual, because we're all on separate journeys. It's, what does blind faith look like?
Mm,
So it's knowing that you're putting everything, your trust in God, while still doing everything that you can in order for you to find success in His will.
mm,
Well, that's at least my interpretation of it. So I mean, if you think otherwise, please correct me. So I think that's maybe also where it's this notion of faith, and how do you come to be to have confidence in that?
I think faith, in a sense, understanding God's character. We're not going to fully know God in complete totality of who He is, what He's going to do, what He won't do, what, like, we're not going to know God like that. He's way beyond us. But understanding His character, meaning He has a plan for us, plan of good and not of evil. His desire for us is to know Him, to follow Him, right? And His desire for us is not to perish, but to have eternal life. That's why He sent His Son to die on the cross for us. So understanding His character, I think, helps with faith. God doesn't necessarily call the qualified. He qualifies those whom He calls. So if He's called you to do something, He's gonna take care of everything. Remember when Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt, he was like, God, I can't speak to people. I'm bad at speaking to people. Like, how you want me to go speak to Pharaoh and tell him to get your people out of Egypt? And then God is like, bro, go. And he's like, nah, I can't lie, God. I can't do that. So God's like, okay, tell your brother Aaron, he will speak for you. He makes a way. He understands these things. Like he knows what he's doing. He's made these plans long before we were even conceived or born. And the word, it says that I knew you by name before you were born. Like He knows these things. So when you understand His character and you're like, okay, I know. And some people need a sign. Most people need a sign. I need signs, many signs. Sometimes today I still am looking for signs from God. And that's our nature as human beings. And if you look through the Bible, you'll see we've always been like that. Most times we're really silly, bro. I can't lie. Because God will give you a sign today, and then a year from now, you're gonna ask Him for another sign because you've forgotten what He did literally last year or last week or last month. So yeah, man, faith is an incredible thing. Just the power of faith as well, and like, yeah, man. Now God is God is just different. Just different, bro. I'm just
You say faith, and I'm also thinking intention. Like,
yes.
and I think you mentioned it somewhere whilst you're speaking on your journey, where it's like you were in a position that you had the opportunity. At that time, the door closed, but the intention may have not been then, but it doesn't mean something won't come of it. And in faith, it's like it's weirdly canny. You look back in retrospect and things make sense,
Yes.
but in the moment, it just doesn't. And
Oh
it's
my.
that like frustration sometimes of like, why now? But then again, it's the framing, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like in the moment, it's gonna be crazy. In the moment, it's gonna be insane, bro. We're going into camp in a few weeks or a few months, and then everyone's trying to be on the 53, and then in September they're gonna announce who's on the 53, bro. It's gonna be. I'm being tested now. I'm gonna be tested. My faith is gonna be tested, and things might not go how I expect it or how I hope it to go every time. And that's okay. You know what I mean? That shouldn't take away from my effort, from my input, from my work ethic. You know what I mean? Just because I'm not completely sure of the outcome, it shouldn't take away from those things. I should still be the same person and trust God and allow God to be God and allow Him to have His way. So like, and something I would say to people, and I also say to myself, hard work pays off, bro. People sometimes say hard work doesn't pay off or whatever, and so it's cliche. Hard work pays off. What you sow, you reap. This is a biblical principle. It's a principle of our life. Even if it doesn't show up now, if it doesn't happen now, it's gonna pay off somehow, some way, at some point. You don't plant a seed tomorrow, and then have apples. You don't plant a seed today and have apples tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like if you plant an apple tree today, it's gonna take you some time before you You get an apple, and the first apples might not even be nice. They might be like, "Is that an apple?" But
Yeah.
eventually, you take care of the tree and prune it and whatever, you're gonna get some nice apples. And I don't have to go to the shop to buy apples. You get them at home for free. so, so hard work pays off. It always does in some shape or form. You know what I mean? If you keep at it long enough, you're gonna have a big tree and you can get shade from the tree. I'm now just kind of making examples, but
Yeah.
it doesn't it doesn't always show up the way you wanted it to show up. But
Yeah.
the hard work, it's gonna pay dividends, bro. It has to. How it goes.
As we begin to wrap up, right? I'm intrigued.
Yeah,
We've spoken about, from being 11 years old, the first dream, initially wanting to play for Bafana Bafana, then moving to the Springboks, the love for Madden, from
yeah,
Madden to Marty's, from Marty's to the player pathway to where we are now.
yeah.
Today, on the 18th of March, what is the current dream?
I think there are many layers to it for me. I think I've grown to it. I'm now thinking about a lot of things that I want to achieve or become. I would say just being present every day, giving my best at every single opportunity that I'm afforded. You never know how long your story is going to be, but I just want to make sure that whenever that story ends, wherever it goes, I can look back and say that I gave everything. And I can look back and say I did it the right way. I didn't cheat the process. I didn't look for shortcuts. I didn't lie to myself. That's my goal right now. Because like you said, when I was 11, I wanted to play for Bafana Bafana. Then I got to a point I wanted to play for the box. Like, that changes. Those kind of goals always change.
Mm.
But I think one that I can take with me for a long time is just making sure I'm becoming the man, or I'm being the man that I'm destined to be, being the man that I want to be.
Yeah.
Now, not putting it far away, saying, in 10 years, it's the kind of man I want to be, nah, making sure to now, today, taking advantage of the things that I have, the opportunities I have, maximizing those things. Yeah, I'd say that's really my goal right now. Obviously, I want to play in the league for a long time, but such a futile thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Such a futile thing to make it only about that. It can't only be about that. You know what I mean? So yeah.
I think it's special in the sense that it's always this notion of the try line or perhaps the touchdown line or the tr-
Mm. The
the end
goalpost
zone.
always changes.
Yeah, it
It's
can always
always
move,
changing.
right?
It's always moving. Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
what's so important, it's like being process driven
Mm,
and being present in the motion that in every day you're showing up,
mm,
giving your best self the best chance to win.
yeah. I think that's that encapsulates what I wanna, be perfectly. I'm not perfect in that mentality yet. I do get caught up in, the goal line and whatever. But that's the lesson I'm trying to learn right now. I think uh, at this stage of my life.
What would be final two questions? What would be the why if you had to
So why?
encapsulate it in a one word? What is the motive for you that drives you to show up?
One word. If I say one word, I'd say passion.
Mhm.
Passion or destiny, in one word. And I can explain them in different ways, but passion or destiny, one of the two. Yeah,
What would that encapsulate for you?
like destiny. This is big picture. I believe that like everything happens for a reason, and I want to fulfill my destiny, my God given destiny, whatever it is, and I can only fulfill it by trusting in Him, and by giving my best with whatever he's given me, with wherever he's placed me in whatever season. So yeah, and obviously my destiny is not just for me. It's not just to enrich myself or, make myself better than other people, whatever. My destiny is something that is for other people as well. Because God won't give me a destiny that's just for me. So there's people back home, there's people in the communities that have poured into me. But Vicksburg is a town that I wouldn't be the person I am without Vicksburg. But people in Vicksburg need hope. People
Yeah.
in Vicksburg need opportunities. Stellenbosch is a place that has poured into me and made me who I am. But there's people in Stellenbosch who need hope too, and people in Stellenbosch who need opportunities too. So even my family have poured into me, but they also need some hope and some support sometimes. And even people who haven't poured into me, there's always people who need hope and opportunities and inspiration. So that's part of my destiny. Me, helping fill those gaps by God's grace. And then passion, bro, I love football. I love what I do. I love competing. I love, pushing myself. If I don't work out for a long time, I start to get moody. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Totally.
I really, really, really love football. Like, um, I can sit and watch tape for hours. I can sit and study plays for hours. I can look at the intricacies. I love it. It's amazing. And so for me, it's not even like crazy to put in the work. Like I'll happily do that because I just love it. So destiny and passion, I would say.
Again, for me, it comes back to the idea of processes,
Mm,
uh, being present in the day, acknowledging and being cognizant of those around you, and being able to give back to the community, which has helped develop
totally.
the individual that you are, right?
Yes.
Yeah. If you were to give any advice or a closing thought or remark to someone who may be listening with a similar dream, or perhaps maybe they're in corporate or they're in a different sport, but who's in that position where it's hardship after hardship, trying to find their own destiny.
Yeah.
What sort of advice would you like to leave with?
Keep on going. Don't stop going because you face adversity. Adversity is not always a sign that you're going in the wrong direction. Sometimes and oftentimes I think it's a sign that you're going in the right direction. I think if there's no adversity and it's too easy and things just maybe sometimes you need to sit back and really reevaluate things. But if your goal or your ambition or your desire is to do something that's not been done before, or something that's far fetched to most, or you know, you want to change the world in some crazy way, I don't know. You you need adversity. And adversity is not a sign that you're breaking or that you can't do it. It's a sign that you're in the right direction. So reframe it in your mind, and use it more as fuel, as motivation, as confirmation. Um, and yeah, just keep on being relentless at pursuing this thing that you believe God's called you to do. Um, Always stay humble, because if you don't stay humble, life gonna humble you.
That's true.
Hey, but yeah, man, I think yeah, that's what I'd say. And then trust God.
Yeah,
Oh, but yeah, that's what I'd say.
gotta believe, brother.
Yes, sir. Vern always says, keep believing. Those of you who don't know who Vern is one of my best mates, and he plays for the Stormers. Pretty tough.
Legend.
Yeah.
Absolute legend.
He always says, keep believing. So yeah.
If there's anything I've missed, like, I mean, we've I think we've covered just some of your story, right?
Yeah.
Um, is there anything I've missed that you want to perhaps shed light on or comment on or
No, I think it was good.
100%?
Yeah.
Well, for me, I don't have any more questions. Uh, I want to thank you for your time and for being available to chat and allowing me to dig a little bit deeper into your story, your why, your love and faith for God, and being able to share that with hopefully some individual who might
Mm.
be able to take something away. So I really
Yeah,
appreciate
for sure. Now, bro. Thanks for the opportunity. Well, I apologize it took so long for us to
it.
get here. I didn't want to get on here prematurely as well.
Yeah,
I think you probably reached out to me when I was back in Stellenbosch.
yeah,
And I just knew it just like the story was not done yet. So like there's no point in even now really the story isn't done, but then
no
again
sir.
till everything is completely said and done and you retire now you want to speak. But but I feel like yeah. So yeah, apologies it took so long. But thank you so much for giving me the platform and the opportunity to speak about this stuff, man. Uh, hopefully it does help someone somewhere, and inspire someone somewhere somehow. Um, yeah.